Hello everyone, my name is Misa, and today I would like to present my research result entitled Students' Perception of YouTube as a Platform for Improving Speaking Skills, a case study of the second year students of English Department in Universitas Negeri Semarang. This research is motivated by several issues, as we know that English is known as a lingua franca, which means it is a universal language that should be mastered to compete with the international citizen. Mastering English can be a bridge to have more opportunities to get a good job or to study abroad. Sanjahari et al. 2021 stated that students' goals of learning English is for having more job changes or for education necessary. Carton and Chopland 2019 also stated that the pragmatic advantage of second language proficiency is for a better job or a higher payment. In mastering English, you have to consider four skills, namely listening, speaking, reading, and writing. However, speaking is seen as a key indicator of someone mastering a language. Yet, it's still a big problem for language learners to master speaking skills. While et al. 2018 argued that English learners have to be able to know English orally, since people view speaking as a vital part of English skills. Living in 21st century is a privilege for today's language learners, since the improvement of technologies eases them to master their target language. Not in mention for English learners. Learning English nowadays can be done everywhere and every time because of the sophistication of technology. Ahmadi 2018 said that technologies play a key role in language learning based on their own pace that helps in self-understanding, doesn't, doesn't stop interaction with the teachers and creates a higher motivation in learners for the effective learning of language skills. There are plenty of platforms students can access through their phone. One of the most popular platforms is the use of YouTube for improving speaking skills. Lee 2017 revealed that YouTube is the most used app in English learning. According to Ruth et al. 2014, most of the lecturers use YouTube as social media and academic as well. And according to Fernandez Carbolo 2021, YouTube is an app that the majority of the students declare to use often or very often outside the class. The fact that YouTube is the most used app in language learning shows that YouTube can be used as a platform for improving speaking skill, especially for English learners who want to increase their speaking skill. As Komari and Zane 2021 state that YouTube can be used as a source for teachers and pupils. Through that research background, I already built three research questions. One, what is students' perception toward the use of YouTube videos for improving their speaking skill based on their experience in either online classroom activities or their autonomous learning? Two, what are the difficulties faced by students? Three, what types of videos do students watch to improve their speaking skill? The objective of this research are to know the students' perspective toward the use of YouTube as a platform for improving speaking skill based on their experience either in classroom activities or autonomous learning, both in bad and good perception, to know the difficulties faced by students in using YouTube as a platform for improving speaking skill, and to know the way they overcome the difficulties, and to know the types of YouTube videos are watched by students to improve their speaking skill. Now let's move to the review of the previous studies. As the plague of COVID-19 outbreaks kept restriction in all activities, teaching and learning in higher education is also restricted from face-to-face meetings. The solution to that problem is online learning or distant learning. Almahas et al. 2021 states that distant learning became the solution to prevent outbreaks and warrant social distancing. Incorporating YouTube is an accepted platform for distant learning. A study by Yakub and Saad 2020 investigated students' perception toward the admission of YouTube for teaching learning medium during the pandemic era in Malaysia showed that they accepted YouTube as a teaching learning media because of its easiness of use, benefits, and social influence. Another study from February 2020 investigated 2020 showed that 95% of the educators use YouTube to to search for the videos that used in online classroom, then 75.8% of them satisfied using the videos in the classroom. Moreover, a study by Baron 2020 investigated postgraduate students' perception of online application in speaking skills showed that they use YouTube for learning speaking, and they also argued that YouTube is the most popular app in speaking learning. YouTube is perceived positively by students. A study was investigated by Sharma 2019 on 60 Saudi EFL students at Jazan University showed that they had positive attitude toward the incorporating of social media in English learning. Another study from Simanjuntak et al. 2021 investigated students in senior high school perception toward the use of YouTube showed that they had positive perception in four aspects such as effectiveness, attractiveness, effectiveness, relevance, and motivation. A study conducted by Hoira 2021 showed that students in speaking course in EFL classes perceive YouTube as a useful and accessible platform for them to improve their speaking skill. And a qualitative research by Sari et al. 2020 tried to find out an improvement of students after completing video project on YouTube showed that they had more fun and were excited, improved their competencies to be autonomous learners, increased their translating and speaking skill, and being more confident to speak up. YouTube can improve students' language skills, mainly speaking skill. A quasi-experimental study by Isnania 2020 showed that the utilization of YouTube increased students' speaking skill. The result of that study was in line with Ilyas and Putri 2020, who also found out a significant improvement on student speaking skill in their research. YouTube is a solution to reduce students' fear of speaking. A research by Menawari et al. 2020 showed that students in senior high school became less frightened to speak up in front of the class after being treated using YouTube videos. Al-Hadri 2019 said that YouTube helps students overcome their fear to pronounce words and it reduces students' anxiety. YouTube can also improve a specific area of speaking skills. A study by Kabuha and Elias 2015 showed that YouTube could improve students' vocabulary retention. The result of that study was in line with Mustafa 2018, who also found out that YouTube helps students to guess and to understand unfamiliar vocabulary. Another study from Zitoni et al. 2021 found out that YouTube helps students to improve their pronunciation. After reviewing the previous studies, I found gaps that could be fulfilled using this research. Most of the previous studies used an experimental quantitative design to prove that YouTube YouTube was effective for improving students' speaking skill, and they only focused on positive perception. While this recent study used a non-experimental qualitative study design which focused on both positive and negative perception to find difficulties and its solution. Most of the previous studies also used non-experimental, non-major students, senior high school students, and junior high school students as their participants, while this recent study used English major students both in literature and education program, and it provided information of videos that they watch. This is the theoretical framework of the studies. Now let's move to the research methodology. This research was a non-experimental qualitative study design. Creswell and Creswell 2018 said that qualitative research is an approach to understand the meaning of individuals or groups ascribed to a social or human problems. This research was also a qualitative study of qualitative research approach. The purpose of this research was also a descriptive qualitative approach. The purpose of descriptive research was to was to describe the phenomenon and its characteristics. Through through this approach, I was able to describe or to summarize the certain event that students experienced. The research took place at English Department in Universitas Negeri Semarang, while the participants of the research were second-year students of English Department, both in literature and education program. The participants were chosen by considering some aspects such as they have taken speaking as the main course since in their first semester. They have had experience making video project that must be uploaded on YouTube. Regardless to the education task, they often access YouTube in their daily life, and moreover, they were digital native, which meant they were familiar with the technologies. The type of the data was semi-structured, open-ended, and closed-ended questionnaire. Open-ended questionnaire helps students to express their opinion more deeply, while closed-ended questionnaire was used to ensure students' perception on open-ended questionnaire. The instrument for collecting the data was Google Form that divided into four parts. In the first part, I asked students to fulfill their self-identity. In the second part, I asked students to answer some questions about their experience in using YouTube for speaking skill. In the third part, a set of open-ended questionnaires to obtain students' perception of YouTube as a platform for improving speaking skill was distributed. The perception were divided into some categories such as the perception toward the effectiveness of YouTube for improving speaking skill, the perception toward the utilization of YouTube for improving speaking aspects, the perception toward the utilization of YouTube for understanding materials. For collecting the data, both questionnaires were distributed through WhatsApp by asking the representative of each class to share the link of the Google form to their friends. For analyzing the data, I used a theory from Ariel 2010. For open-ended questionnaires, the first step is called familiarization and organization. I read and reread the research data from the participants, then I fix the grammar mistake without changing the meaning or the sense of the answers. The second step is called coding and reducing. I could reduce unnecessary or nonsense information so that I could find the pattern of the answer. And the third step is called interpretation and representation. I, I generalized the data and connected with the research goals, and I also attempted to examine the essence of participants' responses using textual and structural description and supported it with the findings from previous studies. Just like the open-ended questionnaire, there were three steps for analyzing closed-ended questionnaire. First, I took a look at who had fulfilled the questionnaire to ensure the amount of the student participant, the amount of the research participant. Second, the data was in diagram or chart to ease me representing the data. Third, I measured the data into four categories such as strongly agree, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. The measurement of the data was using ordinal scale. It meant neither the difference between the number nor the ratio had meaning. The measurement of the number aimed for my convenience, and the numerical data was also described in narrative sentences on each statement. To validate the data, I used a theory from Creswell and Creswell 2018. First, I used triangulation, so I examined different data sources, information from previous studies to find the evidence to build coherent justification for my research. Second, I used member checking, so I took back the polished or semi-polished research report to the participant to know whether they agreed to what I said about them or not. Okay, now we come to the result and the discussion of this research. Based on the data analysis, I found out that students perceive YouTube positively. They perceive YouTube as an appropriate, useful, and helpful platform for distant learning. They also perceive YouTube as a big, approachable platform that provided a million of interesting, authentic videos from native and non-native English speakers that could be accessed for free. As we can see here, one of the students said that YouTube can be a good platform for learners to learn speaking skills because it provides a bunch of videos from native English speakers. This result of this study was in line with Group 2011, who also revealed that YouTube facilitates language learners to afford authentic materials and student-centered activities which increase their interaction and their confidence in using English. And it's also in line with and it was also in line with Malhiewski 2010, who also revealed that YouTube gives students a learning environment that affects their language acquisition, such as having interaction with other learners, co-constructing meaning, and more engaging with the target language. YouTube was also perceived as an effective platform for English learners. There were 2 points why students perceive YouTube as an effective platform for learning English. First, YouTube presented various videos for the users. Second, YouTube can be accessed easily because they already have the application once they buy a phone. And moreover, it has a lot of features that ease them to master the target language. We can see here that 45.3% of the participants strongly agreed and 53.1% of the participants agreed that YouTube is an effective platform for improving speaking skills. YouTube also helps them to improve the speaking aspects such as pronunciation, fluency, self-confidence, grammar, and vocabulary. The findings in this research question was in line with Rahnafark and Haidar 2017, who revealed that the integration of computer-assisted language learning enhanced students' motivation in improving pronunciation. And, uh, and Cheng and Ye revealed that written feedback is needed to achieve an accurate grammar rule and word usage. Uh, In this research question, I found that students say they still need feedback to know whether they use an accurate grammar, they use correct grammars or not. Okay, now let's move on to the result of the research question 2. In this research question, I found that students had experienced had had experienced they had difficulties when they used YouTube as a platform for improving speaking skills. They face difficulties such as connection issues, unfamiliar vocabulary, unfamiliar accent, and boredom. The connection issues was caused by the weather and the living area, and they found out it difficult to understand what the video creator said if she or he was a non-native English speaker. They also felt bored watching the video if it had a long duration. However, they have solutions to overcome their difficulties. They would find Wi-Fi spot move to the better place with a better signal to overcome the connection issues, and they will turn on uh, the subtitle button, or and translate the unfamiliar vocabulary in on Google Translate to overcome their difficulty to overcome the unfamiliar words and unfamiliar accent. To overcome their boredom, they would like to take a break or watch the videos in several times or turn on the fast mode. Here we can see the result. One of the students said that I used the subtitle option to solve the unfamiliar vocabulary, then I will translate it on Google. The findings in this research question was in line with Okta Berliner and Muslim in 2020, who revealed that the obstacles students experience during online learning, such as unfamiliarity with e-learning, slow internet connection, and physical condition. The result was also in accordance with 10 2022, who concluded that caption on video make students better comprehend and familiarize themselves with unknown words. The result of research question 3 showed that students watch several types of YouTube videos to improve their speaking skill, such as native English speakers vlogs, music videos and movie clips, podcasts, essay videos, TED Talks, gaming, and stand-up comedy. As one of the students said that they use essay videos or speech videos like TED Talk to help them to improve their speaking skill. The result in this research question was in accordance with Smith 2011, who revealed that students' video preferences such as specific items of learning, comedy, challenge, emotion, and familiarity. The result of the study was also the same as Saban 2020, who found out that students often watch daily life channels, online games, and entertainment on YouTube. The reason students chose the videos are was the reason students chose the videos was because it related to their interest and it fulfilled their curiosity and their learning style. As we can see from the answer of one of the participants, who said that because an audiovisual learner. The finding was the finding was also experienced by Maria et al. 2018, who found out in their study that the use of TED Talk videos is proven to motivate students in speaking English and fulfill their interests. Now we come to the conclusion of this research. After analyzing the data, I can conclude that students perceive YouTube positively. They perceive YouTube as a useful, helpful, approachable platform that provides a lot of videos that they can access for free, and it's also an effective platform for improving speaking skill. The students face difficulties such as connection issues, unfamiliar vocabulary, unfamiliar accent, and boredom. But they have solution for it. The students also watch some types of videos such as TED Talks, native English blogs, movie clips, music videos, games, podcasts, and etc. to improve their speaking skills. And now we come to the suggestion for the students, teachers, and future researchers. For students, they can explore their speaking skill using YouTube during their study and their leisure times. And for the teachers, they need to consider the duration time of the videos taken from YouTube so that their students will not be bored. And for future researchers, they can conduct a research of using YouTube for improving grammar. Alright, that's all the presentation of my research result. Thank you for your attention.